All right, guys, welcome to the show. We've got the enthusiastic Tom Santanello here. Wednesday Fire and Ice show. Some people are saying, Joe, well, Tom isn't that enthusiastic. I know, I'm being sarcastic. We got to get him out of his shell. And what better day to get him in the show? One day before the NFL season, so he's excited. So today we're doing a full NFL Week 1 preview, NFL news and notes here, a little bit touching on every single matchup, what's going on, how the matchup is, how the teams are lined up for this week, NFL Week 1. Tom, I'm beyond excited. It's Wednesday, and expect a preview from us every Wednesday. So whatever you got to do, subscribe to this channel. You're going to get a lot of good inside information here to help you prep whatever you're doing with these games, whether you're just watching them for fun, whatever you're doing, playing fantasy, whatever it is. Now, this isn't as fantasy focused. I do a starts and sits episode on Thursday, which is tomorrow, but this is the preview show. So, Tom, what is going on, man?
What's going on, Joe? You seem ready for the games.
I'm energetic, man. You know, I'm already energetic as it is, but kickoff is coming up. It's here. We're coming. We got the Texans versus the Chiefs. So let's not waste any time here. Let's get right to it. Oh, one more thing. Fantasy Direct. I've linked it below here on YouTube, or head on over to thefantasyfootballcounts.com. Waiver wires. My 5 picks versus my 5 locks of the weeks versus the spread. Everything you guys need. Fantasy Direct delivered to you. Right? Optimal DFS plays right there for you. Fantasy Direct. I've linked it below. Get the package, the year-long package with me, and I'll text you guys my information direct to your phone. All right, let's go. Houston versus KC. I'm excited. Let me do a quick 30-second snippet, and then Tom can dive in a little more details about the matchup and how it goes. So, KC versus Texans. I'm excited. David Johnson, prime time, all the haters against him, and the stage is set for David Johnson to shine. Watson gets his mega deal. I think Cook's a little banged up for this game. I think it's a quad type thing we'll talk about real quick if you know anything about that. But then we got the Chiefs here. We got Pat Mahomes coming off this, the Super Bowl hangover. I'm excited. We got Tyreek Hill. We got the new Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Tom, what a way to kick off the season. What do you think of this matchup? Lay it out for us.
I mean, it's tough. I like Kansas City. Houston's not as big of a favorite this year as they were in that division last year. They're in one of the toughest divisions in football, I think. That in the NFC West, they have some competition there. The Titans went a little further from the same division in the playoffs. Deshaun Watson, you're right, getting paid. He got paid a lot of money. And,
right.
He won a playoff game. He's performed, but he's not a Super Bowl quarterback yet. So they're paying him for what they think he's going to do in the next few years, which is, I guess, how contracts should be. But I mean, they had to get that done. The Texans are a team that mortgages the future for the present. They've been doing that for the last few years. They lack a lot of depth. They don't have a great secondary. They got bits and pieces all over the team. They took them a couple years to put their offensive line together. Wasn't great. Overpaid for Tunsil. KC, you're saying Super Bowl hangover. I'm not. I think they come in and they win by 2 touchdowns.
Really? I think it's going to be closer than you think. I mean, what do they got at 9.5 points for KC right now as a favorite? Yeah, I mean, KC can just easily score and just be up by 2 touchdowns just like this. But the thing is, you can't count out the Texans. I think, as of right now, week 1, they've got the edge in regards to running game. Obviously, the passing game goes to the Chiefs right off the bat. Defensively, I'm going to give the slight edge to the Texans here. Do you agree?
The Kansas City's defense last year stepped up. Chris Jones, he got a monster deal in the offseason. I don't want to say he's underrated because he's a high-end player, but he's a top 2 or 3 defensive tackle in the league. I love the guy. When he was gone, they missed him a little bit. Houston's, I know they got a new running back that you're in love with, but yeah. I think it's a tough one. JJ Watt. Is JJ Watt going to play this year or not? We don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Nobody knows. The odds say no.
Right.
You're a betting man. I don't love Houston's defense. I think they have some holes in it. I like Kansas City a little bit better on the defense. They got the Honey Badger. They got Chris Jones. They got a couple really good pieces. I'm giving them the edge a little bit on defense.
All right, so let's move on here. Again, it's going to be a good matchup. What a way to kick it off. I mean, can you imagine if the kickoff, can you imagine if game 1 was like the Jets versus Jacksonville or something like that? I couldn't get excited for that. So I think they've done it right, and I think this matchup is going to break record. I think a lot of people tune in.
Every year, the first game's usually pretty hyped up. Listen, you never know. Houston could end up with 2 wins this year or 14. It's just, it's the NFL. Any given Sunday, anything can happen. Even though this is a Thursday, Joe, I think KC is going to come out on fire. A little different this year. No fans really, or hardly any in some stadiums. So maybe it'll be a little different. But
all right,
great way to start tomorrow.
All right, so we're going to move down. We're at the 1 o'clock game, so we're going to rapid fire these matchups. Seattle versus Atlanta. I'm excited. Seattle, the 1.5 point favorite here. Atlanta tends to play statistically and historically really well at home. Matt Ryan coming off a mediocre year last year, arguably the two best wide receivers in the game with Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. They've got Gurley in the backfield. They got Hayden Hurst as well. I'm excited to watch this. And then Seattle, who, their wide receivers, I'm a little suspect. I think Metcalf could have a huge ceiling this year. Running game with Carson, if he stays healthy, they could be good. Two good offenses going here. I'm giving the slight edge here to Atlanta, but again, the slight edge basically by the odd makers are saying Seattle. Can you break down this matchup? What do you think?
Well, number one, it's in Atlanta. If this was in Seattle, they probably would be given 4 points or something like that. But Seattle has the better defense. Atlanta struggled on D the last couple of years. Their coach their coach could be out by week 4, week 5, week 6 in that range if he's not performing. And it's been pretty well said. The problem is he's very well liked by the players and the owner. He's a very well liked guy for since he was coaching at Florida. He used to be the defensive coordinator in Seattle. Very well liked. It bought him another year. He did go to the Super Bowl a few years ago, and he's a defensive coach, and their defense has been playing like shit over the last couple years. So now you look at the matchup and you say, all right, Seattle, Russell Williams is coming off an MVP caliber season. I know he didn't win it, but he had a hell of a season. I think.
Did you say Russell Williams?
Russell Wilson.
I know.
He's coming off an MVP caliber season. He's a stud. They're a better team at home. Week 1. Could Atlanta, Todd Gurley ball out? Yeah, I think they could. I think they could. Seattle starts off slow sometimes. I think they could eke out this one.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to watch this one. I got Matt Ryan stock in my fantasy league, so I'm excited to go. This one, not really excited about here, but we got Baltimore versus Cleveland. Although this is going to be interesting with, Odell Beckham. Is he going to bounce back this year? And then you've got the Ravens. Did you hear that news about Odell Beckham? Something about poop? Did you hear all that? He likes to be pooped on. Some people say it's allegedly. I don't know. I mean, this is just some weird stuff. You heard about that, right?
I mean, I didn't read too much into it, for obvious reasons. But hey, he's welcome to do whatever he wants to do. It's his private life. I really don't.
as long as you're performing on the field, you can get pooped on all you want. Eat it.
He hasn't been performing, so I mean, listen. He's been a distraction for years. He had the incident in the hotel, and was that in France? I mean, I don't know if this is a distraction. Shit comes up. There's,
literally. Hold on. Literally, shit comes up.
He's got, women sliding in his DM all the time. He's probably been with a lot of women out there doing his thing. So I listen. I don't know. Maybe it's a jealous girl who wanted some money. I've seen it all in the NFL. I don't know. I obviously don't want to know.
Okay, back to the game. Cleveland versus.
He's a 1,000-yard receiver, Joe. He's a good wide receiver. Him and Landry they played together in college. Last year they weren't great here last year. The problem wasn't them. I think more the coaching and the quarterback. Quarterback matured for a year. Will that help? We will see. The coach is new. I think they're going to lean heavy on the run. They just extended Kareem Hunt for 2 years yesterday.
Yeah, that's huge.
They're looking to run the ball heavy with him and Chubb. Not run the ball, get the running backs involved. So it's going to be a multi-dimensional offense. They're going to spread the ball around. I think you need to look at the other thing. Will Lamar Jackson come back and have a year like he did last year? I don't think so. But how will Baltimore respond to the devastating playoff loss last year? I think they lost to Cleveland once last year too. So I don't know. I want to see how Lamar comes out and plays. I don't think they're strong enough at wide receiver this year. And I can see Cleveland covering this game over here. I don't know if they can win outright, but
8.5 points is a lot. 8.5 points is a lot of points here to put Baltimore, especially week 1. And I want to get that out right now as we continue with this. This is week 1. Anything can happen. These teams could come out fiery. I mean, you could have the New York Jets come out and win by 30 points over the Bills. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm saying that this is a week where there's a lot of uncertainty. After week 4, you start getting a feel for how good the teams and the offenses are doing this year. So in regards to this, man, so I think Cleveland possibly could cover here. I mean, it's do or die here for not a lot of people. Odell Beckham, Baker Mayfield. I mean, they got make or break for these guys, honestly.
What's this? The third coach in 3 seasons as well in Cleveland. Their ownership is almost just as bad as I'm not the ownership. The way the organization's run is just as bad as Jacksonville. Well, nobody's worse than them. But Baltimore, listen, they're the opposite. They've had stability. How long has Harbaugh been there? The total opposite. these franchises. But Harbaugh is going to run the ball. He's going to run the ball with Ingram, run the ball with Dobbins. Lamar Jackson's going to get the ball in his hands, run the ball. But I think he's going to try to take the ball out of Lamar's hands a little bit more than last year, so that the injury risk. You already had that little groin injury in the preseason. So I think that's what they have to protect Lamar Jackson.
Right.
I'm worried. I don't think they have enough weapons in Baltimore. I just don't think they have enough weapons on the outside. They could not come back last year against Tennessee. They are not built to come back, and I don't think they can come back from, big deficits like some other teams. So I'm a little concerned with Baltimore this year. I think they might be more of a 9-7, 10-6 team than.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna have the same type of year, man. I really don't. I mean, it's one of those teams. I think they just got inflated last year. They had this pinnacle Cinderella year. They come back down to reality. Let's move on here. Jets and the Bills. I'm all over the Bills here. 6-point favorite. Jets just don't have any receivers. I'm not seeing this offense being as efficient this year. I'm just not seeing it. Buffalo, they got a true wide receiver one. They've got Zach Moss there that could pound the ball in. They got Allen, who looked pretty good last year. I like Buffalo this year. Defensively, man, I like this matchup. If you're playing DFS, Buffalo this week, man, I like this matchup. By the way, tune in Saturday. I do a DFS show as well. What do you think?
I think Buffalo's weakest link going into this game is at the quarterback position. Oddly enough, they were drafted right next to each other, Allen and Darnold. I would like to see Darnold in Buffalo, playing with that offense. I think they'd be a much better team. I'm not sold on Josh Allen. I don't think while he's got some arm strength, he just doesn't have the accuracy. He doesn't throw a good deep ball. I'm still concerned on Buffalo. I'm very concerned with Buffalo putting up a lot of points in the NFL, and you need to score to win football games. I think they can win some slugfest. Excellent defense, excellent coaching, excellent management up top. I'm worried about the quarterback position. That's what I'm worried about. And I think that's what's going to hold them back. They were in the game against Baltimore last year. They were in some tough games last year, but they can't reach that next level. And I think they're going to be stuck in that wild card, round one playoff, maybe round two. That seems to be the type of team they are. I know they added a weapon on the outside in Diggs. I don't know how happy he's going to last in Buffalo. I don't know. As far as the Jets, they rebuilt the offensive line. For the Jets to win this football game, they have to have a ball control game. Right. Give it to Le'Veon Bell. Make him the weapon on offense. Spread the ball a little bit around because they don't have too many studs on that offense as receivers. Well, they don't have any studs. They have guys that can catch the ball, but they're going to have to really keep this as a close game. If this is probably could end up being a close game unless the Jets don't have a horrible defense either. But, Buffalo's I think they're going to lean on the run in the beginning of this game as well.
They've got the weapons there. I think Singletary coming on the passing plays. I think Zach Moss is going to be the guy. They're not saying it right now, but I think he takes that starting job. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting season. Buffalo is the first time Tom Brady's not in this division. You got the Jets, you got the Bills, and you got the Dolphins. Who's going to win this division? The money's on the Bills from everybody.
Yeah, I'm thinking Bills.
But, let's see. The Bills always disappoint. I mean, they blew a huge playoff. They blew the playoffs last year. I mean, is that going to mess with Josh Allen mentally? That messes with a lot of people. Mentally in football, a lot of guys lose it. I've seen it year in, year out.
Right. All right, let's move on to this matchup. I'm excited to see Josh Jacobs. Got a lot of fantasy football stock in him. We got the Carolina Panthers at home, who are the underdog by 3 points. I guess the uncertainty here lies in Teddy Bridgewater. Is he going to come out blazing? Is he going to come out strong? Is he going to come out ultra efficient, mediocre, and play it safe? How is he going to control the pace of the game? That's the question. So let's start off with that because I think there's some uncertainty there. How do you think the pace of the game will be with Teddy Bridgewater?
I think Carolina is going to want to throw the ball. They're going to set up some play actions with McCaffrey. McCaffrey's obviously the core of that offense, but they're bringing a young offensive coordinator who's very, very aggressive coming from LSU. He's going to take chances and he's going to take them often. But I think it revolves around McCaffrey. If McCaffrey can't get going, they're going to be in trouble. If the Raiders can stop McCaffrey early on in the game, then Carolina and the Raiders need to score. Carolina has probably the worst defense in the NFL, bottom 5 for sure. I think
young defense. It's a very young defense, man. Very young.
I mean, it's young, but they drafted, I think every draft pick was like defensive players.
Yeah.
But also, I think they lost the best defensive player in the NFL, Luke Kuechly, who I think was the best defensive player for years in the NFL. He's a complete stud. They have a new coach who's, he's a very good college coach. Right. How many college coaches make the transition to the NFL successfully? Not a lot.
Not many, yeah.
So this guy got paid a shit ton of money to come from Temple to Baylor to here. He turned around Baylor, but it's a lot easier to get kids like in Baylor to turn around a team, especially with other guys' recruits. I'm not sold on the coach here. I'm not sold on Teddy Bridgewater. I don't think he's a great quarterback. I think he's average. I think they will take chances. They'll win a few ball games this year, but I don't think Carolina is a good football team. I think the Raiders come in here. This is what, year 3 of the John Gruden era, which is a bigger storyline that people have forgot. His 10-year, $100 million deal. First year in Vegas, third year John Gruden. The one thing that has not changed that people thought would, he's got the same quarterback. I don't love the quarterback, but week 1 going into Carolina, I like him to spread this ball around. I like the Raiders to put some points on the board and win this game.
Yeah, man, they've got the better running game. Well, I don't know, man. I think, well, you could make a debate there. Probably Christian McCaffrey, but they definitely got some receivers this year. So,
a better team.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. Better, I say quarterback experience and passing game goes to the Raiders. Running game has to go to the Panthers here. It's going to be interesting, man. Yeah, I agree with you on this one. Can't debate it. All right, Bears and Lions. I'm excited to watch this one. Again, make or break. We just talked about the Raiders. Derek Carr, he's got to perform this year.
That's excited.
You got to do something, but I'm excited about this game. As crazy as it sounds, for a fantasy perspective, I'm excited because there's Kenny Galladay. I've got some Kenny Galladay stock here. We're going to see Peterson. I think he's going to come out a lot. Is it going to be him? Is it going to be more Swift? I think Swift's a little banged up still. Montgomery, I don't know if he's playing. I think he might not be playing week 1. I'm not sure. I heard he's good to go. Like, he's healthy. He's been doing well from an inside source. And then Mitch Trubisky. This is it. Like, are you going to come out strong? Are you not going to come out strong? You're not excited about this game, are you?
No, I don't think anybody is outside of Chicago or Detroit. I really don't. I mean, this has like,
I'm wearing the Bears hat. Not that I'm a Bears fan. I'm just a Montgomery fan. I like them.
I'd rather bang my head against the wall than watch this game. I think the Lions come out and they pound them. I mean, I like the Lions this year. I think Matt Stafford. This is year 3 of Matt Patricia. I think he's a really good coach. I think he changed the culture there. He's got his new players in there. They got some good wide receivers now. For some good weapons. I'm sorry for Stafford. The tight end going into year 2. The guy Hawkinson, was it Hawkinson? Yeah. He was picked in the top 10 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Last year really, and I just think I'm excited for Stafford. When he played last year, he was on fire. I think he's going to have a good year.
Yeah.
I think Chicago's a disaster. Another team like Atlanta that you could have a new coach by week 4, 5, or 6.
Hold on. I'm going to switch. I'm switching my hat because you're making fun. I'm going to go Raiders here because you're knocking on my Bears. So you go, keep talking.
No, I just don't think Chicago, obviously they have a good defense. It's decent. It's good, whatever. But last year they were a disappointment on D. Could I see them staying in some games all year long on their defense? Yes. I think eventually Nick Foles takes this job. It was pretty close in camp. They just gave it to Trubisky, the job. So I don't love his weapons. I don't know. It's just something feels off about Chicago this year. If they don't have Montgomery, I think they're even in more trouble because, he's a stable piece on that offense. I don't like the coaching there. I don't think they're built for his style of play.
I agree.
I just don't. I don't like it. I think Detroit can come. I think Detroit's going to win this game by over a touchdown.
Right. I agree with this one. I agree.
Yeah, all day.
All right, let's move on here. And I switched my hat, guys, not just because Tom hates the Bears, because I'm really rooting for Josh Jacobs week 1. There you go. I could switch hats. I don't have to be a specific team fan. I'm a fantasy fan, and that's all that matters. All right, lots of great divisional games coming up here, man. I mean, Colts and Jacksonville. Colts 7.5-point favorite here. I mean, that's high for a divisional game that could be kept tight. I mean, why so high on the Colts here?
2 reasons. One, Indianapolis has a very strong team. They're a team that's built from the inside out. They would have been in the playoffs last year had they had a quarterback. But they have a great offensive line, probably the best offensive lineman in football, Quentin Nelson. They have a great defense, good defensive line. They just traded for a stud they got from the Niners, they have a couple weapons. They got the rookie Pittman, who I think is going to step up. They got T.Y. Hilton. They got a rookie running back, Taylor, to go along with Mac. They're a solid team, and they're probably up there in this division. They got Phillip Rivers, the $25 million man, who, he said it himself, he's out there to prove it. Last year, he said he's not washed up. Then the other side, you got Jacksonville, who just released Leonard Fournette, which is a whole other story we spoke about last week. They made another trade the other day. I think they traded one of their safeties. They have Gardner Minshew, who I love. I love the guy. I think he's a starting quarterback in this league. They have a couple good young weapons on offense at wide receiver. Gardner Minshew doesn't need a running back to win football games. He's thrown the ball a shit ton at Washington State. It just sucks because I like the offensive coordinator Gruden here. I don't love their defense, but I think they're going to be a feisty team all year long with Minshew. I do. This is a big spread, and in 8 points,
huge spread for a divisional game like that's. I don't know. I just find these games are very tight between.
It's not horrible, and Indianapolis is not great, but this will come down to one thing: Phillip Rivers. They need him to keep him in the game and make the throws when they need those throws. He's not going to go out there and throw for 300 yards a game anymore. He's not going to sling it like that. They need to control the game, and he's going to make those third down throws and pick and choose. They just need a quarterback capable of making the big throws. And in those kind of situations, in those games, usually they're within a touchdown. So, I in this game, 8 points, if I had to gamble this game, I'm taking Jacksonville with the points.
That's interesting. All right, so let's keep moving on here. Another great game here. This is a good game. I think this is going to be a good game. Packers in Minnesota. Now, I find, again, statistically and historically, Rodgers tends to play better at home. Lambeau Field, Lambeau Leap. Everyone gets happy. This is going to be exciting because we're going to see Dalvin Cook. Obviously, the contract issues happened. They didn't pay him. I think here's the deal. It's make or break for guys like Dalvin Cook. Literally, figuratively speaking, literally. If he breaks, he's done. He should have just taken what the Vikings gave him. I think it was like $9 million. It was under $10 million, I think. Obviously, I think ego got in the way there. He didn't accept the money. What's that?
A lot of ego in this game coming up. Go ahead.
A lot of ego. Now I'm hearing that Aaron Jones, I think they're trying to work a deal with Aaron Jones, which is really weird. I mean, why? I mean, you've got AJ Dillon there. I mean, what's going on? Explain the situation, explain the matchup. What are your thoughts on this whole thing? And I like Lazard as a wide receiver too at the Packers. I think they're going to air the ball more this year. And with the Vikings, man, I'm excited to see Jefferson get out on the field as well. So what are your thoughts on this?
Well, number one, a lot of these young coaches in the NFL are going to the two running backs. We spoke about it in Buffalo. To some extent, I don't think it'll prevail, but you still have it with Frank Gore and Le'Veon Bell. They brought Frank Gore in to complement Le'Veon Bell.
Right.
Detroit just signed Adrian Peterson, which we didn't speak about. You have it at a lot of places. Now in this situation, LaFleur used to be the coach in Tennessee, the OC, and he likes to run the ball. But I think Aaron Rodgers, I'm not going to disagree with you. I think he plays better at Lambeau, but I think he's got something to prove. Ego, right. You want to see ego? I think Aaron Rodgers comes in and slings this thing. I mean, he may throw picks here and there, but he's coming out this year and he's throwing the fucking football. I don't, maybe he won't succeed every game, but he's not going out like that. I don't know him personally. He's that type of guy from what I hear. When he's pissed off, he can be a prick. And I think he's out there and he's taking control of this team. And I think they beat Minnesota, but I don't think the Packers have enough weapons on the outside to compete. Or on offense altogether, with the elite teams in the NFL. I don't think they have a good inside on defense to really compete. They got ran over last year by San Fran in the playoffs. Yeah. I don't think they made enough they don't really sign free agents much in this organization. They do a lot of draft picks that re-sign their own guys. So, but I think they can come out here and win this football game. Kirk Cousins, don't forget, he lost Stephon Diggs. That's a big piece. Even though he didn't catch as many balls last year, he was a target a lot. He was targeted and he was a big decoy at sometimes. Adam Thielen's back though. And I think this comes down to if Kirk Cousins even has a go-to guy, can Thielen bounce back? That's a big, story over here in Minnesota.
But can Jefferson be an immediate impact here to help out?
Yeah. Thielen's that go-to guy. I'm telling you, when a quarterback has a go-to guy, he's a lot better of a quarterback. When you don't have a go-to guy, you struggle. It happens. Or you just lack that, to reach that next step. And so especially Kirk Cousins, he's not an elite quarterback that doesn't need that go-to guy. He needs a go-to guy. I really think that's a good sub-story here with Adam Thielen and Kirk Cousins. That's going to be super important this year there. But I think Aaron Rodgers is going to come in and throw the ball, and I think he's going to want to take control of this game.
I agree. It's going to be interesting. I mean, Rodgers has one of those games, man. I've watched him because I've put some, I've bet on some games here. So, I mean, sometimes he just doesn't feel like he's trying or something like that. But when he gets going and he gets into the rhythm, look out, Aaron Rodgers can be dangerous. Take a quick news break here. I see some trending news here. Ramsey signs a massive deal. Jalen Ramsey is now the highest paid cornerback in NFL history with a 5-year, $105 million extension. What do you think of that, Ramsey?
I think it's obvious because they traded 2 first-round picks for him, so he had all the leverage. They weren't not going to sign him, just like Laramie Tunsil. They gave all that up for Laramie Tunsil, who wasn't even a top 5 offensive tackle, but they were desperate for one. And the player has held them hostage in the negotiations, just like he did here. Ramsey didn't have a great year last year. He's a I don't want to say he's a me first player, but I mean, he whined his way out of Jacksonville, got what he wanted, ended up in LA, and he's very, very expensive contract, and I don't know if it's going to be worth it, but I think the Rams keep making mistakes like this, overpaying. How many of their big time contracts have actually worked out? Not I don't know if any of them have. Aaron Donald, obviously, maybe that one, but I just think they keep mortgaging the future for stars, and it's just going to eat at them. They lack the depth, and it proves when guys get hurt. And they got lucky to get out of that Cooks contract last year too.
Also, one more quick thing I want to make a note here. Shazier officially retires. Linebacker Ryan Shazier announces his retirement in an emotional video 3 years after spinal contusion. So good that he is good. He can walk and everything is good. And
coaching, right?
Big scare there. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to go back to football after something like that. I would call it quits myself, So all right, let's move on here. Miami Dolphins and the Patriots. This is an interesting one. New England 6.5-point favorite here. Now, listen, we don't know. I mean, Fitzmagic, who knows what Fitz is coming out. They could come out firing game one. They've got Parker, they've got Williams, they've got some weapons on offense. New England, is Cam Newton going to be in the groove, right? Is it going to happen? Is he? I think he's starting week one, from my understanding.
Yeah, I think Miami's a year away. I think their offensive line is young, too young. I think they lack there still. I don't think they have a great running game. And obviously that connects with the offensive line. The receivers, I do like that kid Preston. Yeah. He's really good. Parker, he's a one-year wonder. Let's see if he can do anything else, right?
Yeah.
Quarterback, I don't bet. I mean, I always bet against Fitzpatrick. You can't give a guy like that benefit of the doubt. He's never went to the playoffs. He's not a winning quarterback. He's not a winner.
No.
So I'm taking New England just by default because I think they're at home, number one. Number two, they still have a better team. Number three, their defense. I mean, they lost a couple guys, but they still have a great defense. I know Miami picked up some good guys on defense. I think he even got 1 or 2 guys from New England. They're a better team than they were last year, but I think New England is a better football team at home. If you're talking spread, I think you're in that ballpark, 6 to 8 points. It's going to be a tough one, but I think New England wins this game.
One more thing I want to just make a note on this one. Do you think, again, going back to ego, Cam Newton, obviously coming out strong this year. He's got something to prove, doesn't he?
Shoulder like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he's got a chip.
Cam Newton had one great season in the NFL. I don't know the capabilities of him being great again. Can he be good enough to win? Yes, but I don't think he can be great because he had one great season in his whole career. I think that was in 2015.
14 or 15, one of those years, yeah.
One great season, MVP season, phenomenal. Can he have a second one 5 years later?
Right.
I don't know, but I do think he has a chip on his shoulder. But this is also a team game in New England. He was the guy in Carolina. He had a good tight end, but not too many receivers. His running game was okay back then. But I think with the coaching that he has this year, they're going to try some different things. He might not be putting up the stats and all, but listen, New England plays to win the game. I know everybody does, but they play to win the game. They're not playing to, just chuck the ball 50 yards, get in the end. They're spread the ball around. They'll do what they have to win. They'll do a quarterback sneak with the Cam, run a bootleg. They're going to do what they have to do to put points on the board, and then they're going to try to hold that lead with their running backs.
All right, let's move on here. We got the Eagles versus the Washington football team. Now, this one's interesting here. Yeah. Washington, obviously, all over the place. So much drama in the offseason. I think they finally solidified their starting lineup. McLaurin, Haskins should be connecting pretty well this game, I would assume, just based on sheer volume that McLaurin's going to get. Then you've got the Eagles that I'm happy that they settled on Miles Sanders and they didn't bring in a veteran in there or someone else like that. So this is going to be interesting. Carson Wentz. I mean, my big question is Carson Wentz, is he going to finish this game?
There's two, obviously. You want to talk about Philadelphia.
Yeah.
It seems like something's off there, but even the year they won the Super Bowl, they kept making moves that year too. Like Howie Roseman's always tinkering with the offense. He tinkers all the time.
Right.
And my problem with them is they lost 2 starting offensive linemen before the season started, and they brought back Jason Peters out of semi-retirement or whatever he was in. They brought him in to play guard when the starting Brandon Brooks got hurt. right? Great guard for the year. The left tackle gets hurt. They move Peters back to left tackle. So they lost 2 starting offensive linemen this year. Right. That's huge. Second thing is they're talking about, well, I don't know if it's true or not, but I didn't make any calls. They're talking about trading Alshon Jeffrey. I mean, right. Alshon Jeffrey's time has passed him by. He had a good run at Super Bowl, but he serves a purpose when he's a big target in the end zone. He made some really good plays for them, and he was worth it. They won a Super Bowl, but he's not good anymore. No. And they don't have any receivers that really scare me. Now, they're going to spread the ball around. That's what they do. Peterson came from Andy Reid, just like Nagy in Chicago, but this team's better suited for the West Coast. And I think West Coast offense. And I also think they're going to run the ball more. I love Miles Sanders. I don't think they're happy. I think they're going to make some trades, make some other things that go on, other moves to go on. A lot of their draft picks recently haven't been hitting. They just released a couple corners, I think. They tried to trade some guys that were unsuccessful at. They ended up keeping. I'm not sold on Philadelphia. This is Dallas's division, but it matters. Can Wentz come out and have a year like he did a couple years ago? And right. I think he's healthy most of last year. Washington, they're trying to change the culture. Then they have the nickname and all that other crap that came up, and it was not their fault really this year. They got rid of a couple of their running backs. Darius Geis, I don't know, he did some type of criminal activity. Adrian Peterson, I mean,
it's crazy.
I got rid of him, which I think you needed to do that. And they got Bryce Love, and that other guy was named the starter. They're going to have a couple running backs in there unless one of the guys takes control of the job, which is possible.
They're a disaster. They just came out and said Gibson's the guy. Like them. And then they got McKissick starting. What's McKissick going to do?
When their coach has cancer, it's a very sad situation, but I think he's still coaching. I personally I think it's going to come down to Haskins. What kind of leap up can he take in year 2? I'm going to say no. He's not an NFL quality quarterback. I don't think he does. I just haven't seen enough to say he is.
I have his signed rookie card. I hope he does well because I want that stock to go up there.
I want to use that as toilet paper.
I got extra paper. We'll see. We'll see how he does. Well,
yeah.
All right, let's move on here. Chargers, Bengals, not excited about this. Tyrod Taylor. Man, talking about suspect quarterbacks, Tyrod and Burrow. You have no idea how this is going to work out. Keenan Allen, Tyrod, is that connection going to be going? Mike Williams always banged up there with the Chargers. We got Eckler. I like Joshua Kelly there at running back as a deep fantasy football sleeper. If you're looking at sleepers, Joshua Kelly, grab him off week 1 waiver wire. If he's available in your leagues, if you have someone else, dump someone. Try to get Kelly on your roster. I think he's going to get some volume there. What do you think of this offense? Mixon just got paid. I mean, 3-point favorite are the Chargers on the road. Man, this is going to be an interesting game. It's going to be a circus. What's going on here?
Oh, Joe, I don't know. I love Joe Burrow. I wish he wasn't in Cincinnati. They made some upgrades on defense, a little bit on offense this year. I think the Bengals take this game. I like their weapons on the outside. If AJ Green is healthy, I think John Ross going to he played okay last year. He'll never play up to his top 10 potential. Tyler, what's his name? Tyler Boyd.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of studs. Like those guys aren't studs, but I think they have enough pieces for Burrow to spread the ball around. They have a really good running back who'll do the job in Mixon. I don't think he's a stud either, but I think he's a 1,200 yard. He's a good piece to the puzzle. And that's what they have. They did a good job this year. I think they're another team like Miami a year away, but I think they're closer than Miami if Burrow's better than Tua. Remember, a lot of scouts still had him better than Burrow going into the draft, but it was the injury history, and Tua didn't win that job.
Right.
Now, the Chargers, they have a good defense. I love the head coach. He's a great guy, but I think he's gone after this year. I don't think they perform. I think one of their top offensive defensive players, Boza, great player. Right underneath him is Derwin James. He just got hurt again. I think it's going to be a disaster of a season for the Chargers. I'm going with the Bengals. I think Justin Herbert comes in at some point because I don't think Tyrod Taylor is any good. I don't think he ever was any good. I think he was capable of, leading a team and winning, 8-8, 9-7 when he went to Buffalo, the playoffs. But I don't think Tyrod Taylor is going to do any good. He's definitely not good enough to give the ball to Keenan Allen, who they just gave $20 million a year to on an extension. Right. Mike Williams had one good year in 3-4 years. I don't love him. I don't buy him. They got a decent tight end, running game. I don't know. It's up in the air. I'm not going Tyrod Taylor. I will never bet on Tyrod Taylor, but I will never bet against Joe Burrow. Well, see, in college, I never did. So let's continue that trend. I'm going Cincinnati week 1.
I can't argue that with 3 points. Why not? All right, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This one's interesting. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the loaded Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where I think the hype is real. Whereas last year everybody was hyped about the Cleveland Browns, and I was like, nah, but this is real. You got Tom Brady, you've got Evans, you've got Godwin, you've got Gronkowski coming back. You've now got Leonard Fournette. I mean, this is a high octane offense. I don't see any holes in the offense here at all. You're loaded fully at every position with Tom Brady's experience. Are you kidding me? They're a 3.5-point favorite to the Saints, who, I don't know, man. Breeze is up and down in regards to fantasy anyway. He has good games. He has bad games. I don't like that he comes out on certain plays to bring in Taysom Hill around the goal line. Like, why are you taking your quarterback out of the game? Like, I don't know. It just bothers me. I'm annoyed with this entire offense. They annoy me all around. I'm staying away from the Saints in fantasy this year. Mind you, Michael Thomas could get the volume, but remember, he had a pinnacle year, 185 targets, 149 receptions. The only guy at wide receiver that came close to the reception count was Hopkins and Allen. I think they had 104 receptions. Pinnacle year. There's no way in hell Thomas has that type of year. He'll have a safe year. But what do you think of this matchup? Bucks, Saints. I mean, how are the Bucks an underdog here?
Well, because they're playing in New Orleans, and New Orleans is New Orleans on their offense. I mean, they have a good defense as well. I'm not sold on them either. They seem like the team that just drops the bomb in the playoffs every year. Just drops the ball. I should say, not the ball. Tampa Bay, I think, is still a mystery because they haven't played together, but I'm going with Tampa Bay to put some points on the board here. The over-under is 49. So they're expecting a decently high scoring game. I honestly, Drew Brees is another year older. He made those comments in the NFL where half his teammates hated him. Whatever, he made those comments about kneeling. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a good year for New Orleans is going to have enough firepower to put some points on the board. I don't love Kamara. You may love him. I don't. Michael Thomas, great receiver, not as good as last year. They got Emmanuel Sanders, I think he's a little old for to be the number 2 there, but I think he can be a good spot wide receiver. Drew Brees, another year older. I just don't see them being what they were last year. They even tried to sign Clowney, and they didn't sign Clowney, so they know they're not ready. They were trying to add Clowney to the mix, who's was a very overrated player this year and went to Tennessee. But I think Tampa Bay had a top defensive line last year. They have a really good defense in general. They have excellent wide receivers. They have excellent tight ends. They have very good running backs. I'm going Tampa Bay.
I like it.
Hey, money line. Shit.
No, I like it. You can't really argue that. How do you argue that debate? Well,
in New Orleans, I think Tampa Bay's on proof, and I love Bruce Arians put up points last year. If Jameis Winston didn't turn the ball over as much, they would have won a few more games. I just think this is going to be I think Tampa's a good football team. I do. And I think with Tom Brady, he brings leadership to that team. It's different for a coach to have leadership than a player. Players respect players, like Brady, more than they'll respect a coach sometimes. It's just the way they look at them. So I think Brady's also going out there leading by example. Coaches can't lead by example because they're not out there getting hit. Right. So it's just different, from what I hear. Like when you have a player that's a leader like that, but he's going out there putting his ass in the line. Brady's out there, the first one in, last one out every day, working his ass off. The coaches aren't doing that, even though they are behind the scenes, like, looking at film. When a player's doing it, he's getting hit every Sunday, he's making touchdowns, he's doing his thing, they respect that more. And I truly think that it's just going to be Tampa Bay's day this Sunday.
I hope so, man. I'm excited to watch. I think the hype is real. I think Brady ends up with another Super Bowl. I think he's being set up, whatever, if you want to call the fix, whatever. He is getting set up for another Super Bowl. Whether it's this year or next year, he's going to get a Super Bowl before he retires, 100%. Like the same way Manning got one, miraculously beating Carolina's superpowered team. Somehow he was throwing beach balls that Super Bowl. If you watch that Super Bowl, and somehow, they pulled it off. And then Ray Lewis as well. These heroes always go out somehow with the Super Bowl. Anyway, that's besides the fact. All right, another 4:25 Eastern time game. Cardinals versus 49ers. This is interesting. 49ers 7.5-point favorite. I think they're the smarter team. I think they're the more efficient team. Defensively, the better team. Arizona Cardinals, I think they're going to be doing a lot of spraying and praying week 1, trying to get their offense intact and getting going. I think 49ers run a more efficient offense. I think they win this game. What do you think?
I agree with you. I don't like Arizona. I don't like the coaching staff there. They played better as the year later in the season, but they played better when Kyler Murray had the ball in his hands a lot less and when they were running the ball more. So, but I think if they play a more balanced offense, San Francisco is just going to dominate them. Arizona has one of the worst defenses in the NFL. I know Peterson's. They were talking about signing him to extension. I don't know what they're doing. He's a top cornerback. He didn't play as well. He's out of, I think he was out a few games last year. Was it the suspension or something? Patrick Peterson. But I think San Francisco is a much better football team. And I like San Francisco a lot in this football game. They're just a better team.
I can't blame you. Now, mind you, they were plagued with some injuries in the offseason. I think most of them are pretty much healed up.
Oh, he's not healthy, right?
Who's that?
Debo?
No, I think I think he might miss week 1. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the injury report. He might be good. I haven't checked into that. I think he's pretty much close to being good, give or take. He's kind of like the Montgomery. I think he's good, but he may or may not play. I haven't looked into it exactly, but yeah, keep going. They've got Ayuk there. They've got some other options. I mean, they spread the ball around. They'll find a way. They've got Kittle. I think they'll find a way to move the ball down the field and score some points. And I think they'll keep Arizona at bay defensively. But again, I think Kyler Murray, I don't know if he's really 100% comfortable. Now he's got Hopkins. Is he going to be able to thread the needle through double coverage to get the ball to Hopkins? Is he going to go in Fitzgerald more? This is why I've kind of stayed away from Hopkins from a fantasy perspective, because I'm not sure. And if I'm investing a first-round pick or early second-round pick, it's not going to be on a guy that is with a suspect quarterback in a different offense, with the wide receiver 1 who's been a wide receiver 1 on that offense still on that team. And Fitzgerald, I mean, it's crazy. Now you're saying Hopkins is the wide receiver 1. Yes, by default now he is, but Fitzgerald is still there, and so is Kirk, and they've got the rapport there with Kyler. So Kyler might just default, lean on Kirk. He's going to see Hopkins in double coverage. He's looking downfield. Nervous Kyler Murray is just going to throw to Kirk more often, right? So
no.
I
don't think I don't think Larry Fitzgerald is still there. This is like senior citizen Larry Fitzgerald. And he's playing the game. He's playing the difference is he's playing his role right. He's not expecting 100 targets even. I don't think he's going to get 100 targets this year. And I don't think he's expecting it. He's not going to get 100 receptions. I don't think he'll get 100 targets like I just said. I think he understands where he is in this offense. And I understand for him to be valuable, he's going to need to maybe make those big third down catches when Hopkins has double coverage. Now that comes down to what you just said. If, the quarterback over here is comfortable. I don't know how good of a quarterback Kyler Murray is. I'm not sold. Is he going to come out? A lot of people comparing him to Lamar Jackson.
He's a poor man's Russell Wilson. Let's be honest. From so far, unless he proves us wrong.
Maybe. I think Dak Prescott's more of a poor man's Russell Wilson, but that's me. I don't think he's a poor. He hasn't done anything. Kyler Murray. I'm not. Show me what you got this year, and he's got to be patient in that pocket and hit the open man, but he's got to also learn how to get rid of the ball. He took did he take the most sacks in the NFL last year? I think, right? Held on to the ball. Yeah, he just wasn't ready last year, and nobody was scared of the Cardinals last year. Like I said, later in the season when he didn't throw the ball as much, they played a lot better football. And I think half of this goes on to the coaching. The coaches kind of woke up and said, all right, this kid's not ready. So I don't know if he'll ever be a star quarterback in this league. Obviously, he probably has the talent to be a starter, but I just don't know how good, he can be. And San Francisco, not a pretty place to go, week 1.
3 more matchups to go. We're gonna rip through this. I do have his rookie card, Kyler Murray's rookie card. So I'm kind of rooting for some Kyler this year. So I've got his rookie card. Hopefully that goes up in value as well. Look at the stock. My stocks are rising, Tom.
You are, but also he's playing probably one of the top defenses in the NFL this year.
Not a good matchup.
Their defensive line is just out of control. So I look for San Fran to dominate this matchup.
All right, and at home to boot. So
at home, sunny California, forest fires in the in the sky, all good.
We've got now, this is interesting, Dallas Cowboys versus the Rams. This is an interesting matchup. It's prime time. Rams at home. Dallas 2.5-point favorite. I think Dallas has got more weapons right now. Cam Akers could be special at running back. Van Jefferson for the Rams, rookie wide receiver, is really doing well in camp. They've got some good receiving targets. It's all about Goff.
He's good.
Goff versus Dak, another guy with a chip on his shoulder, Dak Prescott. What do you think here, man? This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's an interesting game because it's in LA, which I don't know how much home field will. Teams going to travel and stuff, but there's going to be no fans. Well, there's some stadiums will have 20% capacity or something like that. But
Right.
I mean, in LA, it's never been it's not a football town like that where people care as much. They have a decent D line. I think Dallas is the better football team. Rams, were they 8-8, 9-7 last year or something like that? Fighting for a wild card, which they will again this year. Probably they're right in that range. I think it's going to be, it's McCarthy's first game as head coach in Dallas. I think all around, they got the better football team, and I think they eke out a win here. I just think this is their division this year. They won the playoffs 2 out of the last, 4 years?
Right.
Dak is still playing for his deal. I mean, Deshaun Watson got $40 million. I think Deshaun Watson's a better quarterback, but Dak, I think has done a little bit better there. But listen, this is the last chance for Dak, his last excuse. You don't have Jason Garrett anymore. You got a new coach.
Right.
So show me what you got. I think he comes out there, and I think they play well week 1. I think they usually start the season off strong too.
Yeah. I'm going to be excited to watch this game. I'm a little uncertain on this one here, but I think it'll be closer than people think. All right, Monday Night Football. There's actually 2 games on Monday. We got the Steelers versus the Giants and the Titans versus the Broncos. Let's start off with the Steelers versus Giants here. Steelers 5-point favorite. Big Ben coming back. I think Steelers are going to crush the Giants.
Yeah. I just, I like the new coaching staff in New York. I don't think they have the talent or the players really yet. I just don't. They just released DeAndre Baker, the start I think he was starting corner last year, the guy that just got arrested. They don't have really any good wide receivers, in my opinion. They have a decent tight end who always gets hurt. They got a top running back in the NFL. They have a young quarterback who's unproven. Their offensive line, they got a couple new pieces, but it's still not there. Their defense doesn't excite me. I think they'll play better than what their talent is because I like the coach, but he's a tough coach. He was making them run sprints. He came from New England, kind of like Patricia. His first year, they struggle usually. So I'm going with the Giants to struggle. Roethlisberger's coming out there. He's going to be on fire, spreading that ball around. I think they win.
Yeah, I agree. All right, and I know you don't like Tannehill, but I think they're going to smash the Broncos. I don't know, man. Drew Lock is going to come out. It depends. Again, another situation. Is Drew Lock the real deal? I think he is. But when is it going to be in week 1? They've got a ton of weapons. Weapons-wise, I give it to the Broncos. But, man, how do you count out Titans who made the playoffs last year?
Because I don't think Derrick Henry's going to perform the way he did. Now, Denver just got, their best player just got hurt, Von Miller. And
right.
I don't know if it's confirmed. I think they're waiting on the MRI or whatever. I didn't hear anything today. But I think he's definitely out for the majority of the year from what I've heard. But I don't know if that's been confirmed yet. Maybe.
That's going to kill them. That hurts.
Yeah, they still have a good defense. They got Nick Chubb and other pieces, but I think that is really going to hurt them. Winning those tough games, some of those close games, rushing the quarterback. I don't know who's going to replace him. And I like Denver. I don't like. The problem is, it's not that I you're right. Drew Lock has to prove it. But I don't like Tannehill, but I also don't think Tennessee was 9-7 last year. They were just above 500. They weren't a great football team. Yeah, they won a couple games in the postseason, and they physically beat some teams up. They just got Clowney, who's one of the most overrated players. I just don't, and I think that's what they're trying to. Clowney's good against the run, better. He's decent against the run. He gets to the quarterback, but he's good in leadership. But he's not worth what he's getting paid or what he wanted to get paid. I just think they're a tough football team, kind of like on the inside, like Indianapolis. They have a really good, tough coach like Mike Vrabel. I just don't see them. I just don't see it. I think they take a step back from the 9-7 and don't make the playoffs this year. But they've never, even the games they won last year during the regular season, mostly were close games. I know they had a couple blowouts, but a lot of close games last year.
Right.
2.5, what's it, 2.5, 3 points or something like that there? What is it?
Yeah, 2 points for the Titans.
Yeah, and Monday night in Denver, in the altitude, I'm going Denver.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. We're going to have to see. All right, man. This is it. We went through every team. And I love this. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I know I did, just going over these teams. I'm excited. I mean, everyone's just craving football. Everyone wants to preview. Everyone wants to know what's up. We're also going to post this, Tom. I don't know if you know this, but Fan to Fan Network. We're going to put this video on Fan to Fan Network as well. So it's going to be in 2 places now, 2 networks. It'll be on a network and the Fantasy Football Counselor podcast. So everybody can get this content. So more eyeballs on us with this to get that information out to you guys, whatever it is you guys are doing with these games. So listen, Tom, I'm beyond excited. The season's here. And again, tomorrow We've got the Titans, or not the well, what am I saying? Titans. Texans versus the Chiefs, and it's going to be a good one, man. I'm actually setting up my DFS lineups now. And Saturday, I'm doing a DFS show. Starts and sits on Thursday. Friday, I'm still debating. I may take a day off. I think I deserve one, Tom. I'm doing shows every day, or probably not. We'll do something on Friday as well. But yeah, we'll talk soon, Tom. Anything else? We're good? You excited?
Yeah. I mean, listen, this is unprecedented times. I don't know how things are going to be affected. I honestly, like, we should have done a show on the preseason. I think we talked about it briefly. I just think it's going to be different this year. They just canceled the college game this weekend, didn't they? One of the college games got canceled.
Yeah, I don't follow college too much.
But it's just going to be, I think it was like Louisiana Tech or some no name. But it's just going to be different. No fans. I don't know. Let's see how it is. But yeah, I am excited because it's football. I think it's going to be fun, but it's going to be different.
It's going to be
happen. Season could get canceled week 2, week 3, week 4 could never get canceled. We could have unbelievable games. I don't know. I mean, we could have more trades. We could have more anything. I love it. So let's see what happens. Week 1 starting tomorrow.
All right, guys. Leave your fantasy questions below. Leave your comments on your thoughts of the games and smash thumbs up. We'll see you guys next week. We'll talk soon, guys. We're out.